There are mornings when you question yourself. Am I doing the right thing? This is definitely one of those mornings. Adrian Clark, 18 years old, deaf and mute since the age of 5. He wasn't born into silence. He was forced into it by trauma. And me? Claire Dawson, 19 years old, just became his I don't even know which number nanny anymore, but unlike the others, I know sign language. My cousin was also born deaf and mute. I understand what it's like to be invisible. And Mom, she's hospitalized, seriously ill. I need this job, not just for the money. Previous nannies all quit after a week. They said Adrian can't change, but I believe at least I can try talking to him. The question is, does he want to listen? Day 1. I thought if I cooked what he liked, things would be easier. But clearly, I was wrong. He didn't just ignore me. He deliberately made everything worse, as if testing when I'd give up. I tried communicating with notes. Result? He tore them right in front of me. Okay, noted. By the end of day 1, when everything settled, I realized I was in a losing battle. But then I remembered who I was doing this for. Mom, my cousin, and maybe myself too. I started learning more sign language every night, more complex phrases, ways to express feelings, even though Adrian might never notice. Every morning, I stood outside that door, knocked, signed, "Good morning," even when he wouldn't open. But I knew he was there. Week 2. I still cooked, still cleaned, still tried, even knowing he wouldn't eat, even knowing he'd mess it up again. Every night I spent 2 more hours learning sign language, from basics like hello to complex ones like I understand your pain. Maybe I'm crazy. Adrian even locked the door, taped it so I couldn't get in, but I still sat there, signing I'm here if you need me, even though he couldn't see. Mr. Grant told me I didn't have to try anymore. He said he understood, but he didn't know. I wasn't just doing this for money. My salary barely covered part of the hospital bills each month. If I gave up, I didn't know what I'd do. That night, I cried because I was exhausted, powerless. But then I realized maybe he didn't need a nanny. He needed a friend. I didn't know if Adrian saw that note, but in my heart, I'd made a decision. Tomorrow would be different. I remembered my cousin. When we were young, he was isolated like Adrian. No one wanted to play with a kid who couldn't talk. I was the only kid who learned sign language to talk to him. And I saw his eyes light up, as if finally someone understood. Mom sacrificed her whole life for me. Now it was my turn, but many nights I lay awake, scared I wasn't strong enough. Then I understood. Adrian didn't hate me. He was just scared. Scared of being hurt again, just like my cousin. Just like me. I won't give up, not for money, not for the job, but because I understand the feeling of being left behind. And I won't let Adrian be alone anymore. The next morning, I didn't cook ahead like before. Instead, I invited him to do it together, a completely new approach. Adrian was surprised. I could see it clearly, but this time, he didn't tear the paper. He stood there, thinking. And then, he walked into the kitchen. First time we did something together. It was awkward. It was messy. But it was a beginning. When I messed up the heart-shaped pancake, he laughed. A small smile. But to me, it was everything. Turns out, he didn't hate me. He was just scared of being hurt again. And that day, I saw that wall, starting to crumble. The days after that, everything changed. Cleaning wasn't a battle anymore. He showed me how he wanted things, and I listened. Cooking became our favorite moment. No words needed, just sign language, laughter, and sometimes slightly weird dishes. Grocery shopping was different too. For the first time, he decided what he wanted. Not the nanny choosing for him, but him choosing. Once I tried ordering Starbucks with sign language for fun. The barista was totally confused, and Adrian, he couldn't stop laughing. First time I saw him, so comfortable. Then one day, he opened his sketchbook for me, drawings about his past, parents fighting, friends bullying, the feeling of being invisible. I wrote, "I see you, and you matter." First time I saw tears in his eyes, not from pain, but because, finally, someone understood. Adrian showed me songs he used to listen to, before he went deaf. Through visualization and vibration, that's when I realized he was letting me into his own world. Then there was a moment I couldn't forget. I was getting something from up high, and suddenly, I lost balance. Adrian caught me, and for a second, the world seemed to stop. We looked at each other, too close, too long. I quickly stood up, face red as a tomato, signed, "Sorry, so clumsy." But my heart was beating like crazy. Adrian signed back, "Are you okay?" First time, he asked about me, and that's when I knew. My feelings weren't just friendship anymore. The days after that, we spent more time together. Drawing, playing games, sharing stories through notes and drawings. And there were moments our hands touched. Not accidentally, not randomly, but naturally. I don't know when it started, but I started noticing. He looked at me differently, more gently, more warmly. Then one day, he wrote, "Want to go to the park tomorrow? Just us?" My heart felt like jumping out of my chest. Was this a date? That day, Adrian looked happier than ever, more confident. I realized he was starting to trust life again. Then suddenly, he stepped onto the street, without looking, without hearing, and I saw a car speeding towards him. I didn't stop to think. I just ran, as fast as I could, toward Adrian. I grabbed him and pulled him close. My heart felt like it completely froze. And then we hit the ground. Everything around me started to blur until the world slowly turned white hospital. 2 beds, both of us, unconscious. Doctor said I had broken ribs, minor head trauma, but Adrian was much worse. Even as I drifted in and out, I heard Mr. Grant crying. His voice broke through the haze. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. My son." In that darkness, I heard a voice, faint, distant, but it was calling my name. Claire." I tried to open my eyes. My whole body felt crushed. Everything was blurry, but that voice still echoed. And then I looked over at Adrian. He was waking up too. His lips were moving, and I heard his voice. The doctor and Mr. Grant rushed over, their faces in disbelief. "This is a medical miracle," the doctor said. The shock. It unlocked something buried deep inside. After more than a decade, he can speak again. I cried from pain, cried from joy, cried because after everything that happened, a miracle finally came to him. The next 2 weeks were the hardest, both of us in pain, both weak, but I helped him practice speaking, and he helped me not give up. Then one day, he spoke his first complete sentence. "Thank you, Claire." 3 simple words, but they weighed more than the world. 3 months later, we returned to where everything changed. Adrian listened to music with real headphones for the first time. "Claire," he said, voice still halting but clearer. "Thank you for not giving up on me." I smiled. We never give up, right? And this time, he answered with words. That's right. Never.